Other people want to have happiness in the same way that we want happiness. So when it's like that, we have to abstain and refrain. We keep the 5 moral precepts every day. We are someone who refrains from killing living beings, from stealing, from sexual misconduct, from lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, and gossip. Then we won't have people having grudges and seeking revenge from us, and those wanting to harm us. Like we hear in the news a lot of those who steal from others, and they get killed or caught and put in jail. Or those who break the moral precepts and commit various types of sexual misconduct, get killed and lose their life. They make bad karma and grudges. Or those cheating in trade and business. Like these days there are many online scams. There are a lot of lies told and bad speech. Or speaking cruelly about many things that have no substance. But those with wisdom do just good karma, and there is only growth and prosperity. Most people who are born don't keep all the 5 moral precepts every day. They do karma, intentional actions of the good type, the meritorious type, the bad type, the black type, and the white type. They will then receive the results, sometimes of merit, and sometimes of demerit, according to that karma that fruits. But those who practicing according to the Noble Eightfold Path, they won't do dark karma. We let go of the bad and unskillful. We try to make merit, to do good karma, the karma that is white. We try to build all types of goodness and skillfulness, until we understand that even if it's wholesome karma of the good type, it still leads us to be born. When we have been born, then we grow old, get sick, and die again. But even though we have been born, we have good karma that supports us. For example, the Janaka karma, the reproductive karma that determines the state of our birth. It leads us to be born in a good realm and existence where we have happiness. Like we are born and we have parents that look after and nurture us well. We have completeness and abundance. Or for some people, when they are born, they have difficulties and troubles. But when goodness comes to support them, then even at the times when it's difficult, there's someone coming to help to support them, so that they're better than before. There may be people that support and look after them. But if the bad karma results, then that also supports us in that it makes us worse than before. For one, being born in a rich family, it assists them to have ease and happiness, and if they get more richness and more happiness in that life, this is called coming from brightness and going towards brightness. But if the Janaka karma takes one to be born in a poor family, then it's difficult. And if there is then another karma that strikes again, like they may become handicapped or have an intellectual disability, then they will have even more difficulties. This is like coming from darkness and going to darkness. So can we see that in people's lives, there may be some karma that gives an influence. It has a force or pressure. It can counteract with good karma. The good karma gives results, and the bad karma tries to counteract it. It weakens the power of good karma. For example, the good Janaka karma that we have done to be born in a prosperous place may get interrupted and interfered with. This is like coming from brightness and going to darkness. So karma is something that is complex, and if it is stronger than that, then it's the karma that destroys or cuts off. It's destructive of the wholesome or unwholesome type. Like there is the unwholesome, and then it gets neutralized. Like sometimes there is goodness, and there is destructive karma that neutralizes it. For example, some people are determined to ordain. One man had faith since the age of 50 and planned to retire at 60 years old and would go ordain then. He got hemorrhoids and had to get surgery for it first. He had prepared his alms bowl, requisites and robes for a year already. He was ready and had a lot of faith to ordain. He was sitting in a bath of water because of his hemorrhoids, and then there was the destructive karma arising first. He slipped and fell down, hitting his head on the ground, and died instantly. This was karma that neutralized his goodness first. And I had my own experience before, at the time when I would soon ordain. I was close to ordaining, and there was some karma that came up to oppose it as well. I was driving a motorbike to go do something for my older brother who was getting married. On the way back, there was a woman walking in the middle of the road, carrying a child. I was scared that I would hit the child, so I evaded to the right, and she also tried to avoid my motorbike by going right. I then evaded left, and she also moved left, and we hit. The motorcycle hooked her arm, and the child she was holding fell. My motorbike fell and slid along the road for about 30 meters. My face scraped along the road, but it was like there was someone scooping me up. I fell down, but there was something scooping me up. Then, my younger brother, who was sitting behind me on the motorbike, had somehow slid with me and was still behind me. When the motorbike crashed, he had fallen with me. When the momentum from the motorbike fall had stopped, I got up and stood up and was not hurt or injured much. There was just a little bit of blood. But my brother who was behind me was not hurt at all. Maybe he didn't have any karma in this regards. I saw the child, and fortunately he was fine. Before the accident happened, I had heard a sound saying, "Be careful, the motorbike is going to crash." It was probably a dewa that was helping to protect. This is called supportive karma as well, which gives help. But some have bad karma that has a strong force, that they can even lose their life. So when we think that we don't stay long in this world, and that we have to go to the next world, then we need to make preparations. We prepare a lot of supplies. We make merit, give dana, keep sila, morality, and do bhavana, cultivate the mind. And we especially need to do a lot of bhavana. We train our mind and heart. We have a lot of metta, goodwill, especially if we are ones who easily get angry. And everyone has anger, both monks and lay people. Dhamma practitioners have anger. It's not that they come to practice at a meditation retreat and then the anger is gone. It's not like that. Like children who start studying for the first day. Can they read and write straight away? They can't yet. Dhamma practitioners experience this a lot. They go to the monastery to practice, and when they have anger come up later on, then people ask them, "You go to the monastery, so why do you still get angry?" If all the people going to the monastery had their anger disappear, then everyone would want to come to the monastery to get rid of their anger. But it's not like that. One needs to train in having metta, try to forgive, to not have ill will, to not have thoughts of cruelty. But in the beginning, those moods have to be there. Whenever there is anger, there will be ill will then, thoughts of harming and of cruelty to others, until we practice and have samadhi concentration. We have good mindfulness and have firmly established samadhi. Then even though we may have anger come up, we don't have thoughts of cruelty to anyone. We think that thoughts like that aren't good. And though a Sotapanna can let go, they still have anger. It's still there. They can feel oppressed and belittled. But they don't have the desire to harm others physically. They have seen the dangers of anger. So their mind is beautiful, and it makes their complexion beautiful along with that. That is the benefit of training the mind. And all the people born want to be someone that other people look up to and respect. But we first have to respect and venerate others first. Have you seen those that have public positions? Whichever house they go to, they raise their hands together in respect. Whatever activity they go to, they raise their hands in respect. They respect and show veneration to the elders. They do this in the various activities they attend, for ordinations, Buddhist ceremonies, or for the floods, fires, and natural disasters that they help out in. and they respect those with merit and spiritual development, and they even respect the ordinary people. So if everyone practices like this, they will become someone whose might and influence will grow larger and higher. But those who don't do this, whose minds are still coarse and stubborn, they won't show respect or veneration, and they are envious as well. Then they will have little might and influence, and will face difficulties. And we can see this a lot in society. Those that have little merit and spiritual development, they get envious of those who have a lot of this. They insult and despise them, and don't acknowledge their merit and parami, spiritual qualities, and this makes them have no might, influence and authority. So we try to build good karma, build merit and parami that is good, and give up the bad karma. Then we will have happiness that is befitting this. If we want to have a lot of wealth, then we should put effort into making merit and giving. Give rice and water, give transport, give flowers, fragrances and lotions, give puja, homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Give to those in difficulties, and put effort into training the mind to be good. Don't be someone who is arrogant, and be respectful to those of high status, the elders. Then we will be born in a family of high status. Like the Panchavaggiya, the 5 ascetics, when the Buddha was approaching them, they had already agreed beforehand how to act, because they didn't respect the Buddha anymore. Their mind was stubborn and unyielding, and they wouldn't pay respects and show him veneration. They wouldn't welcome him. If he wanted to sit, then he could sit. But because of the barami that they had done, when the Buddha approached, they all just saw the Buddha come, and because they had been disciples for a long time, they could let go of their stubbornness, and they received the Buddha, gave respect and veneration. They stood up to welcome the Buddha, put out a seat, and invited the Buddha to sit. They put their hands together in Anjali, paid respects and veneration. So they then benefited by being able to listen to the Dhamma and attained to becoming Sotapanna, stream enterers, and then becoming Arahants, fully enlightened. So here we have to build barami like this, like the children in the rural northeast of Thailand. The monks go for alms there, and the parents teach their young children to pay respects to the monks, to bow to the monks, and to practice being humble and polite. Ever since they are very young, they go out and wait with their parents. They put their hands in Anjali in respects to the monks, and they offer alms. This is following the teachings of the great teachers, so this is very good. So let us keep learning, and those without wisdom have to put effort to gain higher wisdom, to know about merit and demerit, what is of fault, what is of benefit, what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, what one should do and what one shouldn't do. This needs to be learnt. And then we will be someone with wisdom. We have to go to the ascetics and renunciants, or to those who have knowledge. Then we will receive knowledge as well. This is like the Brahmin student, Subha, who asked many questions about karma to the Buddha, and the Buddha was able to answer all his questions. The Buddha was Sattha Deva Manusanang, Buddho, the one who knows, the awakened one, the radiant one, supreme in teaching others. There was no one who had the same level of ability to teach others like the Buddha. So we are considered very fortunate that we venerate the Buddha as our teacher and Sasada. So we should set our hearts on this. We have faith already, so be determined to practice, build good karma, and then we will have just prosperity and spiritual growth. May you all grow in blessings.